What is going on, guys? Poketism here, back with another market update video. If you like the content, consider dropping a like, maybe even a comment saying SpaghettiOs, and a subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And then for our based and beta comments of the day, our base comment is from Creek Mythology, who says SpaghettiOs. Very based, I appreciate that. And for our beta comment of the day, we have Void Kid commenting, "You can tell he's clueless by referencing total value." I appreciate that comment, Void Kid. Thanks for the engagement. And both of you, I really appreciate you guys commenting. So thank you so much. All right. So let's jump into today's topic today. So we are going to look at, we're going to start with Scarlet and Violet Pokemon Center ETBs and go in order all the way up to current ETBs and take a look at the overall price movement of these exclusive products as time has gone on. So to start it off, we have the first Pokemon Center ETB here from Scarlet and Violet Base. Now there's two variants, so we're going to take a look here at the first one. So on the 1 year chart here, we are looking at 45% gains. Big run up back in September here. We're probably going to see a lot of these Pokemon Center boxes have a similar spike in around September. So we'll see as time goes on. But from about a year ago today, we are looking at a 45% return. Lowest listed at $285 with shipping. One sold for $299, $295, $284, $295, $299. So we're sitting around a $300 box. Not too bad for a base set, but as you can see or as you will see as we get later on into this, there's going to be a common theme with certain sets. So here we have the other Scarlet and Violet base set sitting around the same price, same sort of movement here, but a little bit less of a year-over-year ROI. So 37% gains, so running short behind the red box. These are listed at around 300, and we'll take a look at the recent purchases. Somebody got one at 375, so this actually took a big hit recently. Somebody bought them probably a little too high, in my opinion. All right, so now we have Paldea Evolved. So same sort of trend here, but we are looking at a 70% return year over year. So we're at $300 a year ago, and now we are at about $500. It looks like we peaked up around $600 a box, but it's cooled off a little bit, and the volume is picking up, which is telling me that people think that this is a fair entry point to get into this here. So let's take a look at the recent sales. Yep, so we got one at 550, 525, 539, 514, 514. So I think once those touched around $500, people started eating these up. It makes sense. This is a really cool box art with the starters on it. And, this set also has the Shinji Kanda Magikarp that is really hard to grade. So when a chase card that everyone wants from a set is hard to grade, then that means more people are going to rip these boxes, which means there's not going to be too many of them floating around. So I think this box will continue to do well in the long run. And then Obsidian Flames here. Same sort of trend. That run up back in September got up to about $700 a box. We cooled off. Big volume spike of them sold. About 12 sold for around $500. And we've been working our way back up. Looks like we have a listed one at $640. That is the lowest listed. So we're working our way up back to those highs of September. And we have sales at 640, 684, 650, 649, 625. That is impressive. The reason why people like this one so much is because the Charmander promo on the inside, if it grades well, is worth a pretty penny. I also just love the box. This is beautiful to display. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get my hands on one of these, and I'm just not willing to pick it up at this point. But, very cool box, and if you have one, definitely hold on to it. All right, so this is where the theme that I'm that I hinted at earlier is going to come into play. So Pokemon 151 is a specialty set, so there's no booster box for it. We just get ETBs and then whatever product boxes hit the big box stores. So we look at the 1 year chart here, 180% growth. So that just blows the growth out of all the other boxes that we've had. So it's obvious that this is a really desired set. It's a set that got a lot of people back into the hobby. But I want you to keep in mind that it is a specialty set. Now let's take a look, because this got up to like $1,500 in the recent Pokemon hype waves. And it looks like one sold for 130, 1450, 1450, 1460. So it's cooled off a little bit, but not too much. We'll see if this creeps its way down or if we hang out at these levels over time. Now, Paradox Rift, let's zoom out on the 1 year here. So we have a 21% return on the Pokemon Center exclusive box with Iron Valiant on it. So that is kind of sad. We were at about $130, and then we are up to about like 157 now. 157, 175, 174, 149, 145. Not much to say about this. There is a booster box for Paradox Rift, so let's keep that in mind. This is not a specialty set. And would you look at that? Another specialty set. So that is Paldean Fates Pokemon Center ETB. And let's take a look. Oh boy. All right. So this is a classic cup and handle that you see right here. For any of those of you who have done trading or familiar with market movement. So this is a bullish indicator right here. So 1 year growth, about 130%. Not as good as 151, but still a pretty good run. You can't complain about 130% in 1 year. So this peaked up around, was it around 500? Yeah, 560, and we've smashed that all-time high here. And let's see what we have had sales at: 600, 699, 695, 598, 599. So we're looking at $600 to $700 for this Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, and the volume's creeping up. This is about to rotate out, and I have no doubt that this box is probably going to climb quite hard, especially if the Bubble Mew keeps going up like it is. So congrats if you have a box of this. I think you're going to be doing really well in the long term. Temporal Forces. Let's take a look at the first box here. A modest 36% return on the year. Doesn't look like too much buying volume of this happens. So, you maybe get 1 or 2 sold every once in a while. So not a very liquid box. I wouldn't be putting much money into this because it's going to be hard trying to sell it. And we have sales at 199, 190, 190, 188, 187. And look at how spaced apart the sales are. So usually if you're going to invest in an exclusive product, do it into a liquid one where you won't have any problems selling it, rather than having it collect dust on your shelf or on your eBay store. Here's the other Temporal Forces box here, down 15% on the year. Keep in mind these also have booster boxes. They're not specialty sets. Temporal Forces, it's clear that this was not a crowd favorite, and I bet you the volume on this is quite atrocious as well. Let's look at most recent sales. It was actually better than the other box, to be fair, but we're looking around the same price point of about $190. Twilight Masquerade. Let's take a look at the 1 year here. Big run up on that September hype, about $200 a box. Now we've dropped down a modest 33% year return. Now, Twilight Masquerade, I think, is not a bad set to pick up a PCETB of right now. I think this is a fair entry, and there are some desired cards in Twilight Masquerade, like the Greninja. So I have no doubt that Greninja and the Eevee that's in there can carry the price of this box, and we'll have to see how it does, but there's a little bit of a volume pickup here of some items sold. So I think people think this is a fair entry point, and we can see what they've been buying at. Oh, 183, 183, 183, 183, 179. So we're working our way up here, and we might get back to that $200 box here soon, especially with Chaos Rising coming out. I'm sure it's going to bring attention back to Greninja for a bit. Shrouded Fable Pokemon Center ETB. Let's take a look here on the 1 year. Oof. Well, if we take a look, if you had this a year ago when it was $81, we had 71% growth. So, and guess what? Shrouded Fable, specialty set, no booster box. So, you see the theme here? You know, specialty set elite trainer boxes are going to do you well over time. So, um, even even if you got somewhere down here at 119, 120, we're looking at about 150 for the lowest listed. We have 154, 154, 150, 154. So, you know, I do have one of these. So I can't complain. It's kind of goofy because the art is the same as the regular ETB, just minus the Pokemon Center here. And, you know, why not? You got to have the Shrouded Fable Pokemon Center as your main display piece. Actually, do I have it out right here? Oh no, that's just a regular one. Yeah, don't ask why I have a regular one either. So Stellar Crown here, down 1% on the year. So, and guess what? This set has a booster box. Common themes are occurring. So 149, 135, 138, 144, 145. Got up to about a $200 box in that September wave. Then a lot of people bought it down here at around $100 to, you know, maybe some lows of 85. And so if you got it at $85 a box, congratulations to you, because you've pretty much 2x your money. But if you've had this for about a year, you're down only about 1%, which compared to having your money in other products, you know, you don't want your stuff there collecting dust. So Surging Sparks here, I believe, is a little bit of a slept on set. Yes, it does have a booster box, but we're looking at 37% growth on this year over year. So if we were to look at some of the previous sets, like Temporal Forces, or there was some other sets out there that we reviewed that were like in that 25 to 30% growth over the last year. And this one is on par with those, and those other boxes weren't very popular. And our really popular boxes, the ones that have been taking off, are specialty sets with big chase cards in it. Now, this set does have 2 good chase cards in it. It has the Butthole Pikachu and the Latias, which both snatch a pretty penny if you get them in a PSA 10. So I think that this one still has some room to grow. We're not yet back up to where our September highs were. So this box is, I think, not getting as much love as the others. Plus, it's a beautiful display here. And I think that, you know, this will have no problem making its way back up to a $300 box. Prismatic Evolutions specialty set with about 70% returns on the year. So this was about $350 a box, and it went up to about $600. So if you ask me, I also believe that we are a little undervalued here for the prismatic boxes, but I don't quite want to be buying another one at these current market prices because I don't even think the TCG player chart can keep up, because now I think we're finally starting to climb towards what this box should be worth, you know, in my opinion. So, you know, we had sales at like $600 the other day. I mean, even this morning, and then I look at it when I get home from work, and I see it at like 635, 650. You know, that this is crazy. So this box continues to climb. I have no doubt that this will be $1,000 box one day. It may even be $1,000 box before we know it. but only time's going to tell. But specialty sets are ones that you want to get as early as possible because they've proven time and time again to perform the best. Journey Together Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box. So I bash a lot on Journey Together on this channel, but it does have some cool cards. It's just not a very good investable set in my eyes. That being said, it's only up 23% on the year, but it did come out about March of last year, didn't it? So we should expect like the price floor to be about the $110 rather than the 140, because when the set actually comes out, people are kind of paying ridiculous prices. So I wouldn't want to use that as the anchor point. So it looks like we got down to as low as 101.75. So 101 to about 173. Not good with the math in the top of my head, but I would say that you're probably in that 70% range, 60 to 70% growth year over year. So not too bad. I still think that this box might be a little undervalued. I think that this could easily get back up to $200 a box. Let's see what we're looking like with the recent data here. None sold today, and it looks like very sparse volume sold. So not a very liquid box. But we're looking at like 173, 179, 199. So it did get up to 200 for one sale, 179, 189. So, under $200, I don't think it's a bad play, but this isn't going to be a highly sought after box. And so in turn, I think you can allocate your money somewhere else a little bit better. Destined Rivals. Now, this is not a specialty set. It has a booster box. So this is kind of crazy. So I guess it pre-sold for about 1,200. Whoever did that, they're down 50%. Let's maybe go to 6 months here to get a better idea. So on 6 months, we can say about $300, and then we have sales probably over 500 now, right? Yep, 501, 499, 499, 499. So pretty decent gains for this box. Also, it's a box that brings in nostalgia, right? So a lot of people, when they see Giovanni and Mewtwo, that takes them back to their childhood, like it takes me back to their childhood. So there's a little bit of sentimental value here, especially for the people around my age to want to add this to your collection. Black Bolt Pokemon Center ETB has been going ape mode. So let's see. As we get closer and closer, it's going to be harder to tell the percentage gains, but these were sitting around $150 to $175 a box for a long time, and then we have just been shooting up. When I was at a card show this past weekend, I saw people have these Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes listed for $300 a box, and I was like, that's so overpriced. My collector was showing me $200 a box. So then I looked at TCG sales, and then I was like, holy moly. This box has just been shooting up. So on my channel, I've been preaching about how Black Bolt, the regular ETBs, were undervalued. And then now they're creeping up. I think that there's a lot of people opening their eyes up to Black Bolt and what it has to offer. Like, this is crazy. Like 293, 300, 300, 300, 300. And these were sitting for the longest time around $150 to $180. And those people, if you picked them up at those prices, congratulations, you 2x'd your money. But even if you bought at the top back over here at 239, you are still up based off of current sales. So it doesn't really matter. We are pretty much at all-time highs, not including the ridiculous pre-order prices that are showing up on here. White Flare, similar tune, just rhyming, we were sitting around the same sort of price points, a little bit lower, about 140 I saw them for 140 to 150 a box, and then we've worked our way up to about $200 a box, with sales at 220, 223, 230. So this one is following suit, but it's clear that Black Bolt is prioritized by the community, that they prefer Black Bolt over White Flare. The demand is just stronger for the Black Bolt product. Now getting into our Mega Evolution Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. We have the Lucario Mega Evolutions base. So let's zoom out here. We'll look at the 3 months for these. So these were about $150 for a while as well. And then now we're up to about $200 a box. So since their local bottom were up about 18%, not too bad, nothing to scoff at. Now we do have the Gardevoir version here as well. Let's stay on the 3 month here. A little bit better returns at 25%. That's only in 3 months. So we're also getting close to about $200 a box here. 200, 184, 200, 200, 200. Yep, so they're selling for 200. Now, Phantasmal Flames Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, doing fantastic, up 57%. So as we're trending into these new sets, I think a lot of new people are coming into the hobby, and they want the Pokemon Center Elite trainer boxes of these. So with all this modern stuff coming out, and all these sets just having insane ROI returns, imagine when all these new people in the hobby realize that all these other sets from Scarlet and Violet, when they realize that those exist and that there's Pokemon centers for those out there, that some of them are still undervalued. I just am expecting a huge Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box boom. So if you can get them, whenever you can get them, at MSRP from the Pokemon Center website, like try to get those drops, because they're going to be a hot commodity and they're going to be hard to get. So 289, 299, 299, 300. Holy moly. Geez, it's insane. $300 a box. Looks like somebody here has it listed for 240. I don't know, but they're selling for $300 a box. Just crazy. Now, Ascended Heroes here, same sort of gains as Phantasmal Flames. If not, maybe like 10% more, I would say. So they sat around 250 for a bit, and now we are looking at around $400 a box. 395, 397, 395, 400, 400. Ay. And then Chaos Rising has not came out yet, but if you watched all the way to this point in the video, I'm going to give you guys, a pointer that it's very possible that Chaos Rising is doing their Pokemon Center drop tomorrow, which is March 24th. So when Chaos Rising was announced here on PokeBeach, usually that's a signal to the community that the day after is when they're going to be dropping the pre-orders for it on their website. But we went through that whole week with no pre-orders, no pre-order drops for this set. And then today we did not see any pre-orders drop for this set. So I believe Tuesday is the most common day that there's a Pokemon Center drop. So I would say at 9 a.m. Central Time that you should probably check the website around that time, and then set a timer for like every 15 minutes until 11 or 12 Central. Then you might be able to get your hands on 2 boxes of this Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. I think that this set may not be the greatest investable set, but I do believe in the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, and the artwork on it is just beautiful. So thanks for hearing out my rant here today on Pokemon Center products, And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yo.